Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled Choices. Choices are something every single one of us faces every day. We move through life constantly making decisions, both big and small, often without even realizing how many choices we make in a single day. And even though making choices is a normal part of life, it's also common to feel unsure about whether we're making the right ones. There are moments when we look back and think, I should have chosen differently. Or, maybe I should have gone with the other option. This feeling is universal. Everyone experiences it at some point. Because choices aren't just random actions, they shape our lives in ways we don't always see immediately. Some choices influence our future in subtle ways, while others can change the entire direction of our lives. That's why being mindful about the decisions we make is so important. I've talked about this topic before, but it's one of those things that deserves repeating. Even if I've said something similar in the past, not everyone has heard it. Someone might stumble across this message for the first time, and for them, this might be exactly what they needed to hear today. So I want to say this clearly. People will always try to tell you what choices you should or shouldn't make. They'll offer advice, opinions, warnings, and sometimes even pressure. And while that's related to what I've talked about before, it's not exactly the same thing. Because at the end of the day, no matter what anyone says, you are the one who has to live with the choices you make. That's the part people forget. It shouldn't matter what choices other people want you to make, because they don't have to deal with the consequences. You do. It matters to you. It affects your life. It shapes your path. But it doesn't affect them in the same way, even if they act like it does. For example, someone might tell you to invest in the stock market. They might insist that a certain stock is a sure thing, and that you should put your money into it. But if you follow their advice and the stock crashes, you are the one who loses your money. You're the one who has to deal with the stress, the regret, and the financial impact, not them. Or maybe someone tells you to buy lottery tickets because you never know. You spend the money, you don't win, and suddenly you're left wondering why you listened in the first place. Again, you are the one who has to deal with the outcome. People love to tell others what choices to make. But when things go wrong, they're not the ones who have to face the consequences. Most of the time, when someone tells you what to do, they're not the one who will feel the impact of the failure. You are. That's why letting other people dictate your choices is rarely a good idea. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to deal with the losses, the setbacks, or the consequences of those decisions. This ties into something I talk about often. Doing what feels right for you. Making choices that align with your values, your goals, and your intuition. Choices are something we all make, but the responsibility for those choices always falls on us individually. And there's another layer to this that I want to talk about. Sometimes we let our emotions dictate our decisions. We make choices when we're upset, overwhelmed, angry, or hurt. And emotional decisions often lead to outcomes we regret later. For example, maybe you're in a very emotional state and you decide to break up with someone. Or you decide to end a friendship. Or maybe you have an online friend and, in a moment of frustration, you block them. Blocking people has become extremely common, and sometimes it happens impulsively. But then later, when you've calmed down, you look back and wonder why you reacted that way. You realize you weren't thinking clearly. You were operating from emotion instead of clarity. And making choices from an emotional place can be dangerous. It's not that emotions are bad, they're human, but they can cloud judgment. You should make important decisions when your mind is clear, not when your emotions are running the show. Because once again, you're the one who has to live with the outcome. Life presents us with countless choices, and each one carries weight. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with the choices you've made. You're the one who has to lay in the bed you made, as the saying goes. Whether the outcome is good or bad, the responsibility is yours. Even if someone influenced you, even if someone encouraged you, even if someone pushed you in a certain direction, you still made the final decision. They may have suggested it, but they didn't force you. And that's why you can't blame other people for the choices you make. You have to own them. So make sure the choices you're making are choices you genuinely want to make. Don't let people influence you into doing something you don't truly want to do. And here's something I want to end with. Something I've said before. but it fits perfectly here. A lot of people don't even know what they're going to eat for dinner tonight. They can't make the simplest decisions for themselves. They're unsure, inconsistent, and often confused about their own lives. So when someone like that tries to tell you how to live yours, take it with a grain of salt. Most people don't have everything figured out. Most people are just doing whatever feels right in the moment. Most people are reacting, not planning. Their choices come at them all at once, and they're just trying to keep up. So don't take people too seriously when they try to direct your life. Because half the time, they don't even know what they're doing with their own. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye for now.